My name is Itzik Ben Israel. I'm directing the Cyber Research Center of Tel Aviv University, which I founded some 14 years ago, or something like this. And first, I would like to welcome you coming here. The name of the center, as well as I think should be the name of cyber activity anywhere, is Interdisciplinary Cyber Research Center. And the most important word here is interdisciplinary. And I don't think you find many conferences like this in the world in which you can discuss anti-Semitism or creation of music by computers, like the session we just had in the main hall of Tel Aviv University, Smolash. It's all because we take very seriously the word interdisciplinary. There is no good definition for what is cybersecurity. My own definition, and it changed some 10 times in the last 40 years. I started being involved in cybersecurity at the beginning of the 80s, so 40 years now. My own definition is cybersecurity, cyber threat is dark side of computer technology. We develop computers to make our life more efficient, faster, better, God knows what. But without being aware, we create a dependence on computers and communication networks between computers. We create dependence, and bad guys may use this new weak point not for the original reason why we started developing it, but for their own sake, against the interest of the public. It started by developing technology with the goal of hacking into computers in order to take the information out of the computers. This is how it started 40 years ago. Then people realized that many systems are controlled by computers, and therefore, if you know already how to hack into a computer, you can change the software in such a way that those critical infrastructures which are controlled by computers be affected and cause physical damage. And in the last years, we have a third area, all are part of cyber threat, cyber attacks. Third area, and that is using the cyberspace, what we call the computerized network, in order to influence people to use fake news, deepfake, everything technology can offer in order to change the minds and opinions of certain communities. And this is how anti-Semitism is coming into the picture. And I think if there is one main lesson from the current war concerning cybersecurity, current wars that started some 9 months ago, is that this third area should be taken more seriously, not only in the context of anti-Semitism, but the whole area of influencing the public by using fake news and things like this should be taken more seriously by us, and therefore we have some sessions dealing with it. One of them is now, and I'm honored to welcome everyone that came to attend it, and hope to see you next year to tell us that it worked, we don't need it anymore. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'd like to thank Tel Aviv University, the staff of the Blavatnik Interdisciplinary Cyber Research Center, and all the organizers and partners for making this critically important evening possible. This is my first speech at a tech conference, and my initial impression is that I'm extraordinarily overdressed. I saw on my way here from Jerusalem that Naftali Bennett addressed this conference yesterday in a t-shirt and jeans. I wish I'd gotten the memo. I'd also like to say a word about the rare privilege of being one of only 2 male speakers at an otherwise all-female event. As someone who has, for years and as recently as yesterday, refused to participate in all-male panels and has too often been told that no qualified women could be found, I would just encourage conference organizers and event hosts to take a look at this hall today. Kol hakavod. In Los Angeles, a mob waving Palestinian flags laid siege to a synagogue and beat Jewish worshipers in the street, days after a different mob screamed, "Go back to Germany," at Jewish children outside a synagogue preschool. At Stanford, a university task force found that anti-Semitism on campus is, quote, widespread and pernicious, with Jewish and Israeli students feeling ostracized, canceled, and intimidated. In Brooklyn, a Jewish family was assaulted at their twin son's 5th grade graduation by another family shouting, "Free Palestine" and "Death to Israel." At Columbia, 3 deans were placed on leave after they were revealed to have mocked Jewish students and Hillel staff during a panel on anti-Semitism on campus. In Westchester, a progressive congressman who lost his primary race to a moderate challenger invoked anti-Semitic tropes in his concession speech, insinuating that a dark Jewish conspiracy had brought about his defeat. In Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron decried the scourge of anti-Semitism after a 12-year-old Jewish girl was raped and threatened with murder by 3 underage boys, including an ex-boyfriend enraged that she had concealed her Jewishness from him. In Amsterdam, the words "No Zionists Allowed" were spray-painted on the sidewalk outside a home that had belonged to a Jewish family deported during the Holocaust. In southern Russia, assailants opened fire at synagogues in 2 separate cities simultaneously and then burned one of them to the ground. And all of this happened in the past week alone. The surge in anti-Semitism around the world in the 8 months since October 7th has been nothing short of breathtaking. That the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust should have precipitated not an unparalleled outpouring of sympathy and support, but rather an unprecedented wave of Jew hatred has left us all reeling. In fact, it's come so fast and so furious that it's often been difficult to know where to look. Each day, it seems, another synagogue is defaced, another Israeli restaurant vandalized, another Jewish student made to feel unwelcome, another Jewish voter rendered politically homeless. And nowhere is anti-Semitism more prevalent than it is online. To be openly Jewish on social media platforms today is to expose oneself to unrelenting hate and abuse. Hashtags like "Hitler was right" and "Death to Jews" have proliferated. Horrific anti-Semitic imagery is seemingly everywhere. And even the most innocuous posts by Jewish users are often followed by cascades of blood libels, conspiracy theories, and death threats. It may be tempting to dismiss online anti-Semitism as unpleasant, but ultimately harmless, hate restricted to the virtual realm. But we know that that isn't true. Hate groups use social media platforms to organize, recruit, fundraise, and incite, to poison the discourse, spread disinformation, and put Jews on the defensive. And online hate has direct, real-world consequences. As one study found just last year, increases in anti-Semitic speech, and particularly anti-Zionist speech online, can actually help predict real-world anti-Semitic activity, including both far-right threats and violence and far-left anti-Semitic incidents both on and off campus. And time and again, the perpetrators of anti-Semitic violence, from the Tree of Life synagogue shooter to the organizers of pro-Hamas mobs to the terrorists themselves, have been found to have engaged in virulent anti-Semitic activity online. Hate that starts online very rarely stays there. The maelstrom of the past 8 months has left many Jews feeling intimidated and alone. It is often felt as though the entire world is against us, the hate coming from so many directions at once, including from those we had thought were our friends and our allies. It would be all too easy to lose hope. And yet, out of the chaos has emerged a moment of crystal clarity. To borrow Douglas Murray's striking imagery, it's as though a flare has gone up, briefly illuminating all and showing us exactly where everyone stands. Lines that were previously blurred have become sharp and bold. Lines between good and evil, between right and wrong, between those who are with us and those who wish we would just disappear. Yes, you can criticize the Israeli government, this or any other, without being anti-Semitic. In fact, tens of thousands of Israelis do it every single weekend. But no, using Israel as a pretext for your hate does not excuse it. You aren't being as clever as you think you are by substituting Zionist for Jew. We see right through you. Because yes, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. If that wasn't clear before October 7th, it sure as heck is now. On a theoretical level, it's simply discriminatory to seek to deny the Jewish people a right afforded all other nations, the right of self-determination. That, in itself, is anti-Semitic. But on a practical level, anti-Zionism is even more sinister. The desire to deny Jews the capacity of self-defense, leaving them at the mercy of their neighbors, was cruel and bigoted before the atrocities of that terrible day. Today, it is simply evil. And the public discourse, including online, is full of it. If there's any comfort to be found, it may be in that people of conscience share our concern. Public opinion polls show that the general public, at least in the United States, is concerned about rising anti-Semitism and perceives it across the political spectrum. 3/4 believe that Jew hatred is a problem in America, and over half believe it is on the rise. And more than 80%, 8 out of every 10 Americans, say that the belief that Israel has no right to exist, the fundamental belief of anti-Zionism, is indeed anti-Semitic. But although well-meaning people may abhor anti-Semitism and may believe it needs to be fought, they're often drowned out by the tidal wave of hate. And while many of those espousing anti-Semitic views online are bots, fictitious beings created with the express purpose of spreading bigotry, all too many are real. And we Jews are simply outnumbered. But what we lack in numbers, we make up for in wit, what used to be called the Yiddish Cup. As a technological superpower, Israel is well positioned to tackle the challenge of combating online anti-Semitism head-on. Israelis power some of the world's leading tech companies, and Israeli innovations are everywhere you look. To paraphrase the Book of Esther, what have we developed these capabilities for, if not for this? This evening, we'll hear from several experts harnessing the power of technology to combat anti-Semitism both online and off. We'll learn about efforts to combat online Holocaust denial via AI, to cut off hate groups' funding sources, to mitigate the role played by malicious state actors, and to ensure social media companies are enforcing their own hate speech policies. I've heard about all of it and have fully understood very little of it, but I've been inspired and encouraged by the innovative thinking evident in these remarkable initiatives, and I know you all will be as well. This is a battle that we can only win together. It will take a concerted effort by governments, corporations, nonprofits, communities, and individuals to push back against the purveyors of hate. We all have a role to play. And we should be honest. We may never eradicate anti-Semitism altogether. Hatred of Jews has existed for as long as the Jews have, and it may well endure into the future. But if our efforts enable one Jewish child, to go to school unafraid, one Jewish college student to raise his head high on campus, one Jewish family to attend synagogue without police protection, one Jewish social media user to experience a platform without abuse, we will have made a difference. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo ata ben chorin libatel mimena. It is not upon you to finish the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. Let's set out and do this work together. Thank you very much.